Turning back the pages, India's tour of Australia in 2003 is right up the pecking order in the history books. Renewed rivalry, a rising bunch flourishing under their protege. It had all the makings of a bestseller.
That it had been etched in folklore gives it credibility for sure. On second thoughts, did we put the feat on a pedestal higher than it asked for?
Langer, Matthew Hayden, Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh, Adam Gilchrist. A batting lineup straight out of a fairy tale. The catch lies elsewhere.
India did turn heads around with a historic win over the Aussies in Adelaide.
Oh yeah, it was much needed. India hadn't won a test match in Australia since 1981.
Seldom it's said that bowlers win new matches. The batting could have been as glittering as it was, but the bowling, debatable.
So Shubh, do you remember the 2003 for BGT?
Of course I do. I mean, it was one of the first few complete series that I watched as a kid. So yeah, it has a special place in my heart too. So yeah, I remember it quite fondly.
So what are your thoughts on it? Because I might have a slightly unpopular opinion about the series, but I'd like to hear your thoughts first on the series. Your memories, thoughts.
If you ask about the memories, there are a lot. So I don't think it would sum up in a reel. But thought-wise, I think it was a very well contested series. I did not watch the 2001 clash between these two sides. So for me, it was the introduction to the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Rahul Dravid winning the game in Adelaide, lifting his cap, kissing the crest, and then Sachin's 241, Sehwag's 195. So yeah, a lot of memories and a very special series for me personally as well. What is your unpopular opinion about it though?
So like I agree with most of what you said regarding how competitive it was, but I just felt it was far too much dominated by bat.
Yeah, that's
and true. I just was curious about how one-sided it was in terms of bat dominating ball. So I went and checked some numbers. It is actually the most batting-friendly series in Test history. There's never been a more batter-friendly series in history, in Test history. And so that is one of my issues. I felt like, it was great, but every time I watched, I felt like there was some 200-run partnership going on.
But something really special about that series was that the bowling side somehow, even if it was quite late in the match, the bowling team was coming back into the game. For example, again, the first game itself, Ganguly scored that 144 to save India from a defeat in a rain-affected Brisbane Test. Second Test match, again, India were 85 for 4. So the way Dravid and Laxman pulled things back, and then Agarkar made a match of it with a 6 for. Third match as well, India were 278 for 1 at one point, then they crashed to 366, and then Australia turned them over. Fourth match also, like the last 2 days were really good because India had to bat quick. They scored 211 in absolutely no time, and after that they kept Australia under pressure as well. Yeah, batting friendly it was, which was not really good. But apart from that, the competitive level between the two sides actually kept the charm of the series intact for me.
Also, one of the things I felt, was probably contributed to the sort of, in my opinion, the slightly underwhelming nature of the series was you had both McGrath and Vaughan missing from Australia. So, as much as it was India versus Australia on paper, you still had a pretty
Australia ape kind of bowling attack.
Yeah, the bowling attack was pretty weak if you compare it to any era of Australian cricket, because I think, if I'm not wrong, Gillespie, Lee were there, but you had Brad Williams, who was good, but again, probably not good enough. I won't say good enough, but he was not an established international cricketer. Nathan Bracken was never a red ball bowler to begin with, and as a kid especially, when you're watching such test matches, you're watching it for the players more than the sort of the contest, right? So you're like, okay, I want to watch McGrath, I want to watch Vaughan, and when you sort of don't get Sachin versus McGrath, Sachin versus Vaughan, or like less than 35 in that entire series. So that was how for Border Gavaskar Trophy was played today. It played out the same way. Would you actually call it a boring series, or would you sort of Do you think nostalgia plays a part in you sort of assessing the series to be a good one?
Nostalgia definitely plays a part, because I started this conversation by saying that series has a special place in my heart. But apart from that, if I watch that kind of a series again in today's time, I feel I will still enjoy it. Though I do feel that the first couple of days or first 2.5 days would be quite boring. But again, taking example from that 2003-4 tour again, matches did get interesting towards the second half of the test match.
Yep.
So I feel that if that happens, I'm happy with it. And in any case, we don't see many test matches going to day 4.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
seeing a complete 5-day test match would also be unique now.
Yeah.
So that way, I will still take the series if it happens nowadays.
Over a 2-decade time frame, no series had seen such lofty totals. The 2003 series had 4 innings totals north of 200 by the Indians, and not one below that range. On the contrary, India have been bowled out for less than 200 at least once in each of the succeeding tours to Australia. The bowlers were put into the dungeons, to say the least, with only 3 bowlers clocking an average less than 40, while 5 in the list conceded more than 50 runs per wicket. Insane!
Would have been a fitting end to the sword of war rivalry, with the Indian packing a punch in the latter's swan song. What are your thoughts on the topic? Do let us know in the comment section.